Okay, so if you ask a typical Ghanaian youth whether he or she is interested in traveling, I'm sure between 70–80% of them will tell you that yes, they are. And the reasons are obvious. They want to better their lives and the lives of their families. Yes. And so, owing to this increasing demand for visas to travel, people have taken an undue advantage. People who parade themselves as visa experts have taken an undue advantage to defraud these young men and women of their monies. And being a victim of visa fraud myself, I think I have a lot to share. And I'm sure it is going to benefit someone out there. Now, I carefully thought through the pros and cons of mentioning names of people who defrauded me. Uh, and I came to the conclusion that yes, I am going to mention their names. One, because they know they defrauded me. And so I have nothing to hide. It is going to give credence to my presentation. And also, it is going to help somebody out there to brace himself or herself as he or she prepares to embark on a journey. And so this is how it started. I've told you I've been a victim of fraud on a number of occasions. In fact, cumulatively, I think I lost between 45,000, 50,000 to a visa fraud. Yes. And so this is how serious it is. I wouldn't want to I wouldn't want anybody out there suffer a similar fate. And so it is important that I share them. This is how it started. I heard a radio advertisement on Kesben FM, about a travel agent. I think Bame Travel and Tour, uh, the Kumasi representative, one Eric Owusu-Danso, promising lots of juicy packages. And so I was attracted uh, to go and subscribe. He was living in one estate house. He had rented an estate apartment actually at Ahonjo. No, we were a bunch of professionals, teachers, nurses, plumbers, and a whole lot. And so we went there, we registered. Uh, and one thing about these visa fraudsters is that they are so smart, very, very smart, that uh, you would think that they are actually carrying on with the process. They are actually going to secure the visa within the shortest possible time. It is very important that you take notice of their actions. Now, so I have gone to subscribe to the policy, to this juicy package, alongside a number of unsuspecting, individuals, nurses, plumbers, and a whole lot. Uh, he had promised to take us to Australia, and people have asked, why didn't you go and see the house of the so-called connection man? In fact, we were in his house. As I said, he had actually rented an apartment. His wife was there. His child was there. So would you ever have suspected that he was going to defraud you, given the fact that his wife was there, his child was there, and so it is one of the mechanisms they use in defrauding people. And so I laugh when people think that the mere fact that you know the house of a con man could prevent him or her from defrauding you. It doesn't work that way. So I have gone to subscribe to that policy, myself and a host of others, other professionals. We uh, Then he invited us for a criminal check, which he actually organized us, took us to Accra. We went to the police headquarters. We did our test, and then we came back. Now later, he kept postponing the date. In fact, he managed to convince us that the kind of visa he was securing for us was electronic, and so it was going to be sent electronically from Australia. He got us so swollen headed. I mean, he promised us he had very, 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 very articulate. That is one of their characteristics. They are very, very, very articulate, and when they talk to you, you get swollen headed. You think your visa is coming the following day. So we had gone to Accra, had come back, but he kept postponing the date. He will tell you the visa will be in on the 15th. And then the next moment you call him, he tells you the visa will be in on the 20th. The next moment he will tell you the visa will be in on the 30th. And so he kept changing the date. And then people naturally lost temper because he promised taking us in a matter of 6 months maximum, a year and a half. We were still counting on him. And so that shows how determined we were at the time to travel. Nobody would, could wait for a year and a half and you were not saying anything useful. And so people lost their temper and went to him. They incessantly visited him, and so he became scared. He didn't want to refund the money, which he actually didn't refund. So the life of the wife, he had moved from the house where we paid deposits and all that. He had actually moved from that house. I mean, owing to the persistent threats and you know and the possible violence from the guys and the guys he defrauded. So he was left with only the woman. Um, Left with the woman alone, and at the time, uh, the woman's life also was at risk. Also was at risk because uh, the guys were of the view that the woman is an accomplice and she was not owing her husband up for the refund. In my case, I paid so much. Not only did I pay the deposit because he managed to convince me that he wouldn't want a situation where my visa will be ready and then I'll be running up and down for money. And so I should try as much as I could to uh, to be paying the money. And so I kept depositing into his Fidelity bank accounts. If I get 10,000, I'll go and deposit another 10,000, 15,000, until he defrauded me to a sum of about 38, 40,000 for him alone. Yes, for him alone. Now, his didn't succeed. The bottom line was that he ran away. Nobody could trace him, and he did so. His name is Eric Owusu. So I'm sure if you are watching this video and you were a victim, you know whom I'm talking about. And one of his accomplices is one taxi driver, Prince Akresi. He's also his accomplice. What did I have to do? I wanted to be diplomatic, so I reported. I mean, following consistent, you know, uh, visit to his house and the request for the money, and he was not refund of the money, and he was not ready to refund. He was unwilling to refund. I had to report him to the Ascot police station, which I did. So he was invited. He wrote a bond indicating that he was going to refund my money, and that was the end of the story. He was nowhere to be found again. And then the one who billed him, his guarantor, Prince Akresi, who also was hiding somewhere around Kronom in Kumasi, you know, couldn't also be traced again. But he's a taxi driver. I've been seeing him on Facebook. He's a taxi driver, Prince Akresi. So that was it. large sums of money. A young enterprising man, a newly trained teacher, defrauded to such tunes of money. Uh, it wasn't easy. Uh, I had taken loans, with a view to, uh, making it and then paying back. So you can imagine if you are defrauded to a tune of 38,000, the 38,000 itself is not, it, you know, in Ghana, our interest rate. If you are taking a loan of 38,000, it means that you are paying three times 38,000. And so it was quite a difficult situation. Now, so my first fraudster has run away. I couldn't trace him anymore. Uh, Suspicions are that he traveled. Yes, he traveled because uh, within a short time, when he started uh, with his activity, we were all patronizing a public transport. Within that short period, he had acquired a brand new, I think, not a Forerunner at the time, very expensive car at the time. So my first fraudster is gone. He's nowhere to be found. And so it tells you that issues of fraud is real. Those people you know, appear somehow real. To the extent that he went with us to the police headquarters with a view to securing a police check, a police report for us. And so it tells you that these people are really, they are tricksters. They have a lot of tricks under their sleeves. So it is important that, um, in dealing with people who promise to take you abroad, you exercise a high level of circumspection. It is very important. So my first fraudster is gone. Now, I'm not giving up, and so I would have to look for somebody else who can assist me. And in between my main second fraudster, in between this first fraudster and my main second fraudster, because in between them, I had lots of people. I paid a lot of monies to people. Uh, I don't consider it as much monies. 3,000 for registration and it will never come back. 2,000 for registration and it will never come back. 1,000 for registration and it will never come back. I remember paying. My friend and I paid some money. This is of this is important. This is worthy of mentioning uh, because of the behavior of the man in question. After we paid the money, he promised taking us to Panama, that is South America, and that he was going to link us. You know, he was going to link us to some people who would then take us to the United States of America. So he took the money. I think it wasn't that much. He took 1,000 from me as a registration, though it was significant at the time, and then 1,000 from my other friend. So collectively 2,000, and he also kept postponing. He was postponing the. Uh, I will secure the visa for you this time of the year. I'll do this and that, but it was never to be. So one time we called him and he said he was at FISU. So we asked what he was doing at FISU. He told us, uh, he's having signs of stroke. So literally, what he wanted to say was that he had used the money to, care for himself. And then came one other man who said he was taking me to America, my friend and I. It was also never to be. Now, to my second fraudster. My second fraudster, there were two people. fraudsters. They worked in concert. So I'll refer to them as fraudsters. So my second fraudsters, they were religious people. One of them, just as I said, I am going to mention names. I am mentioning names because it is going to give credence. And I am mentioning names because they know they have defrauded me. Um, and so that is it. Now, one of them, this one too, I heard an advertisement from a local radio station in Obuasi, Time FM. I don't know what due diligence these media houses do before airing the advertisements of people. It was about one Joseph Dia, who had his office at around Obuasi sector. So when I heard the advertisement, it was also quite impressive. So I wanted to go and try. I went there. He pulled the form for me. I filled the form. You know, at the time I had to pay a registration fee, 2,200, between 1,800 and 2,200. So having paid the registration fee already, Joseph Dia called his accomplice, another unscrupulous con man, who was, I don't know whether he still is, a Roman father, Father Mark Obimreku, from at the Obuasi diocese. So he asked that I pay 20 cedis for his, what he termed his drop-in fee. So it means that he was going to charter a car. I think he had a car at the time, so he was using it to fuel the car from where he was to the office of Joseph Dia. In fact, Joseph Dia, I understand, was also a revered prophet at Amangwase Methodist Church. Yes, so the two of them, two religious people, came together to defraud me. So the so-called Roman father came, Father Makobi Mriku came, showed me a lot of pictures, convincing me. And then let me add that Makobi Mriku had another accomplice in Roxanne Echiahini, who was also based in Kumasi. And so it was a network, a syndicate. Now, I have done the registration, the man is in, the Roman father has convinced me, and so we are going to begin the process. And it was the same thing. I remember having to take monies from financial non-bank institutions. You understand how it is to take money. And so, as a young and upcoming guy, I had started on a very wrong footing. I wanted to travel. I was desperate to travel because I was aware of the prospects traveling offered. And this is my story. So this Roman father kept also, uh, you know, daily darling. Your visa, we are in the process. Your visa will come today, so come tomorrow, and a whole lot. I remember that at the time, Joseph Dia had to close his office. I am told he is no longer in Ghana. He had to close his office. And following the happenings, I decided that I would report the matter to the deanery, the people responsible for taking care of the Roman fathers. So I phoned the Obuasi deanery, Obuasi diocese, and then they told me that they have had similar reports about the said father, Father Mark Obimreku, who was staying at Tutuka at the time. So Father Mark Obim, they had similar reports about, please, I'm talking about a whole Roman father. I am doing so not to tarnish anybody's image. In fact, and if anybody feels his image has been tarnished, it is not even enough to atone for the difficulty I had to go through as a young professional. And so that is not an issue to me at all, because as a young professional, and the money was never refunded. It is with them as I speak. And so your image was already tarnished, because when I visited the deanery, they told me that you, Father Makobi Mreku, had been defrauding people. And so if I had a way of recouping my money, I should do so. And that they had suspended Father Makobi Mreku over such reports. Where was I going to get my money? And so it became a difficult issue, and um, I never could get my money back. I later realized that Father Makobi Mreku was hiding somewhere in Mampong. Now, so I would call Father Makobi Mreku. Joseph Dia has been off the scene, because I am told he had also defrauded that so-called prophet at Amangwase Methodist Church, had also defrauded. He was also estranged in a similar fraudulent activities, and so he had also run away. Now, and so I was corresponding with Father Makobi Mreku. In fact, it wasn't only the registration fee. I had paid close to, is it 12,000 or so? Yes, I think 12,000 to Father Makobi Mreku, and Joseph Dia. And so I would call Father Makobi Mreku, and then, initially he used to answer my calls until sometime when I became persistent with my calls and demanding for my money. And then he blocked me. So he blocked me. He never would respond to my messages. In fact, he blocked me everywhere. Messages, calls, directs and WhatsApp, everywhere. So there was no way I could connect with him. Please, I'm talking about men of God. This one is a full-fledged Roman father. Full-fledged Roman father. I always say that if I had money at the time I met the father, perhaps he would have defrauded me much higher than my initial, you know, the one who initially defrauded me, because I had so much confidence in him, given the fact that he is a Roman father, and so I had so much confidence in him. He wouldn't answer my calls. He blocked me everywhere. Good. So after a year or two, I don't know what, it just dawned on me to call him back to find out what was happening. I called back, and still with the same number, still he had blocked it, obviously, so it wasn't going through. So I found another number and called back. This time he responded. Obviously, he didn't know, after a year, how is he going to think that I was ever going to get back? So I called and he responded, and I told him it was me. I introduced myself. He clearly remembered. He hung up, and then I called again. He picked. He answered and said he was receiving treatment, and that he's been bedridden for several months, and a whole lot of pathetic story. The point I am trying to drive home is that it is very, very, very difficult to come by money in Ghana. And so losing such sums of money to fraud is, 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 is equally pathetic. So please be very circumspect when you are dealing with people, especially people who would come and promise you, would come and give you juicy promises, promise you. They'll end up defrauding you. under the pretext of securing you visas. Now, following those frauds, I decided to do my own application, and I sat in the comfort of my home to do my own application, and by God's grace, I succeeded. It means that all along I had been oblivious of the simplicity in applying for the visa. And so I am urging you by this story that exercise a high level of circumspection if you want to travel. If you've been a victim of fraud before, relax. I would recommend that you look for somebody. I'm sure you know somebody who knows somebody who has traveled. And I'm sure that if the person connects you, it is more reliable, to transact business with somebody who has been able to at least secure a visa for another person before. Transacting business with such people is more reliable than my case. You know, going into an agreement with somebody I had no idea about. Please be very circumspect. Exercise a high level of circumspection. They come, it doesn't matter. I am happy that coincidentally, these people I am talking about are men of God. I'm saying Prophet Joseph Dia Amangwase Methodist, and then Father Makobi Mbreku of Wase Dinri. They defrauded me. My money is still with them, and they acknowledge the fact that my money is still with them. I am not by this video impugning anyone's integrity. Neither am I impugning, neither do I, neither do I have the mission of destroying anybody's image. I have only stated facts, and this, I believe, is going to make somebody who wants to travel aware of how unscrupulous some individuals can be without the attires they are wearing and the titles they hold. I believe that this has been a very useful video for you. I urge you to brace yourself. I urge you to find someone who has been able to take somebody successfully through the process in order that you do not lose your money. Have a very good day. Bye.